The world is teetering on the edge of a precipice, and the echoes of history reverberate through our present. We find ourselves in a landscape where the specter of nuclear conflict looms larger than it has in decades. The recent rhetoric from Moscow has taken a sharp turn, a chilling reminder that the stakes have never been higher. Vyacheslav Volodin, a key figure in the Russian government, has issued a stark warning, one that reverberates with the weight of history and the gravity of potential consequences. He has stated that if Ukraine is permitted to strike deep into Russian territory with Western weapons, we could be staring down the barrel of a world war, one fought with nuclear arms. This is not just a casual threat, it's a declaration of intent, a message laced with urgency. The European Parliament's recent vote, urging EU nations to allow Ukraine to use long-range weapons against Russia, has ignited a fuse that could lead to catastrophic results. Volodin's warning is not merely rhetoric. It is a reflection of a real and present danger, one that echoes the darkest chapters of our past, like the Cuban Missile Crisis, where the world stood on the brink of annihilation. As we dissect this situation, we must confront the uncomfortable truth that the nuclear red line has been drawn once more. President Putin himself has repeatedly cautioned the West against crossing these lines, suggesting that any further escalation could lead to direct military confrontation. The implications of such a conflict are unfathomable. We are not just discussing geopolitical maneuvers. We are talking about the potential obliteration of entire cities, the annihilation of lives, and the irrevocable change of our world as we know it. NATO's response has been one of defiance, with Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg challenging Russia's claims, suggesting that Putin's threats have not materialized into action. But what does that really mean? Is this a game of bravado, a high-stakes poker match where the chips are lives and the stakes are global stability? Stoltenberg's comments may serve as a rallying cry for those who believe in a united front against tyranny, but they also risk provoking a bear that is already cornered and agitated. The European Parliament's resolution to lift restrictions on the use of Western weapons systems for Ukraine marks a significant shift in the dynamics of this conflict. It signals a willingness to escalate the confrontation, to arm Ukraine with the capabilities it needs to defend itself and retaliate. But at what cost? The ramifications of such actions extend far beyond the battlefield. They ripple through the fabric of international relations, threatening to unravel the delicate balance that has kept the peace, however tenuous, for decades. Volodin's invocation of Russia's sacrifices in World War II is a powerful rhetorical tool. It serves to remind the world of the depths of Russian resilience, the blood and tears that have soaked the soil of their homeland. It is a narrative that resonates deeply within the Russian psyche, a call to arms that stirs national pride and collective memory. When he warns that no one should harbor illusions about Russia's resolve, he is tapping into a well of historical consciousness that cannot be easily dismissed. And then there's the chilling reminder of Russia's nuclear capabilities. The mention of the RS-28 Sarmat intercontinental ballistic missile, capable of reaching European targets in mere minutes, is a stark illustration of the power dynamics at play. This is not a mere display of military might. It's a calculated message that underscores the potential for devastation. The thought that such a weapon could be unleashed in a fit of anger, a miscalculation, or a moment of panic looms ominously over us. As the war drags on, the uncertainty grows. Ukraine has made strides with Western support, reclaiming territory and bolstering its defenses. Yet Russia remains steadfast, unwilling to retreat. The warnings from Moscow are not just attempts at intimidation. They are a clarion call for the West to reassess its involvement. How far is the West willing to go in supporting Ukraine? How much risk are we prepared to embrace in the name of freedom and sovereignty? The coming weeks and months are critical. Each decision made by leaders on both sides has the potential to tip the scales toward resolution or disaster. The international community watches with bated breath, hoping for diplomacy to prevail, yet preparing for the worst. The stakes are high, and the consequences of failure could be catastrophic. In this volatile landscape, we must grapple with the reality that the world is not as stable as we once believed. The balance of power is fragile, and the threat of nuclear conflict is no longer confined to the realm of history. It is a present danger. The warnings from Moscow serve as a stark reminder of our precarious position in a world where diplomacy is essential, but the potential for miscalculation is ever present. As we navigate these treacherous waters, we must remember the lessons of the past. The horrors of war, the devastation wrought by nuclear weapons, and the fragility of peace should guide our actions. It is imperative that we seek avenues for dialogue, for understanding, and for resolution, lest we find ourselves in a situation from which there is no return. The world is watching, and the time for measured, thoughtful action is now. The stakes have never been higher, and the future hangs in the balance.